Hey, Marianne. Let's give it another second before we get started. All right, so thanks for joining me today. Before we get started, I just wanted to make one thing clear and something that I want you to keep in mind throughout these weekly sessions. I want you to think of the stoplight theory. So we have yellow, red, and green. So green zone is where movement just kind of flows really nicely, no issues, no concerns. That's a great zone that you want to be in. I'm completely comfortable with that. The other zone is our our yellow zone. So that's where movement kind of feels like a nice stretch or of a good hurt. So if you want to be in your yellow zone or your green zone, by all means, I like those two zones. The zone that is the no-go zone is our red zone. So that is where if you're doing a movement, you're getting any numbness, tingling, or burning, just back out of that zone and then just make sure you're able to find your green or your yellow. So just remember to listen to your body first, me second, and you can't go wrong. All right, so for your Tuesday mobility break, so let's get you started standing up. So what we're gonna do is start with our hamstring stretch, okay? So we're gonna do some hamstring scoops. We're gonna put the right foot directly in front of us, and then just send your hips back, keeping your spine nice and long, and then just scoop down or reach towards the floor. So we're gonna do 5 with the right leg. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now keeping this position, let's kick your right foot out, okay? And then again, same thing, send your hips back, keep your nice long spine, and let's do 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You will feel that in different parts of your hamstrings, and you're supposed to because we isolate different areas. So now let's turn our foot inwards. Again, keep your hips facing forward, nice long spine. Send your hips back, and again, scoop towards the ground. We're gonna do 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, let's switch sides. So left leg in front, just straight. Again, send your hips back, and let's do 5. This is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn your left foot out. Same thing, send your hips straight back, and let's do 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Last variation, turn your foot in, keep your hips straight, and let's send our hips back, and let's do 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so moving on to the side of the body. So we're gonna do a standing QL stretch. So with our right leg in front of the other, grab your right arm towards the left and send your hips out. You will feel a nice stretch along the right side of your body. So send it out. Switching sides, same thing. Cross your left leg over. Your left arm reaching towards the right side. A nice stretch on this side. So we're just gonna alternate from side to side. And reach towards the left. Reach towards the right. And again, we're just gonna do 2 more on each side. Really don't be afraid to send your hips out to the opposite side. And last one. Perfect. Now we're gonna move on to the hips of the lower body. So what we're gonna do is that what I want you to do is to grab your feet with your hands, and then you're gonna use your elbows to kind of hook under or hook around your knees, and you're gonna be basically sitting on top of your elbows, okay? So you will feel a nice intense stretch on the inside portion of your hip. So it should look something like this. I'm wrapping my elbows around my knees, and I'm allowing my pelvis to sink towards the ground. The thing I don't want you to do is to have an upright spine or torso. I want your torso to be parallel to the ground, so I'm really folded over and just allowing gravity to sink my elbows or sink my pelvis onto my elbows. And you should feel a nice stretch on the inner thigh for this position. And just hang out here and then come out of it. Kind of shake it out because that one can be pretty intense. Same thing. Grab your hands with your feet, wrap your elbows around. Make sure that your torso is parallel towards the ground, and you should feel a nice stretch on the inner side of your pelvis. Great. Moving on. So now we're going to go in a kneeling position. So grab a kneel onto your heels, and with your right hand reach back, and then with your left hand reach back, and then back down, and then opposite. So again, we're just going to open the front portion of our hip, place your right hand on the ground, reach back with your left, lift your bum up off of your heels. Alternate to the other side. Lift your bum up off of your heels. Right hand down, left hand back. Lift your bum up off of your heels and then back down. Opposite side now. And reach back. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have into a modified 90-90 position. Let's have our right knee forward with your leg a little bit in from this 90-90 position. So your right knee, ankle, and left knee should be in a straight line. So what I want you to do is to come up onto your knees, and this is called a glute get up. So lift up. You will feel your hips kind of twist in opposite directions to help open up your pelvis. And then slightly lower. So don't just collapse towards the ground. Make sure that you're controlling the descent. So lift up onto your knees, squeeze your right glute slightly. You will feel more of a pull here on that right side, and then lower back down. And then lift up again, slightly squeeze that right glute, and then lower back down. Switching sides. So again, put your left leg in front, have your left knee, your left ankle, and your right knee about in a straight line, and then again lift your bum up off of the ground, slightly squeeze that left glute, and again you will feel your pelvis want to shift in an opposite direction, and then lower back down, and then onto your knees, slightly squeeze your glutes, and then control the descent. Last time, lift up, and then control the descent. Perfect. All right, moving on to the upper body. So you will be in this kneeling position. We're gonna do something that's called a swimmer's hover. So you're gonna put your hands behind your head, but I want you to make sure that your elbows are pointed out towards the side of you. So don't have them facing forward. Really have them pointed out to the side. And then you're gonna come up into a wide position, and then put your hands behind your back like you're doing a snow angel, okay? So then again, in this position, don't have your elbows pointed forward. Roll your shoulder blades back and down, have your elbows coming out towards the side, and then go back into the start position. I want you to pretend that your hands are sliding against a wall. So go into the Y, rotate and put them behind your back, making sure your elbows are trying to touch themselves right behind you. And then back to the start position. And then again, Y, rotate behind you, and then back to the start position last time. Okay, so Y, rotate your arms behind you, make sure that it opens up your chest, and then back to the start position. Last one is our half moon rotation. So what you're gonna do is lay on your right side And I want your hips in a 90 position, your knees in a 90 position. They are glued together and they're stuck to the floor. So you are gonna have your left arm on top of your hand, and I just want you to trace a half moon towards the left. Okay, try really hard when you are rotating towards the left that your knees stay stacked on top of each other and that they do not come up off the ground. And then when we are rotating, rotate to the left, you will feel a nice stretch in our pec muscle, and then go back to the start position. And rotate again towards the left. Try to keep your hand on the ground at all times. And then back to the start position. Switching sides. All right, so laying on our left side, again, have your hips stacked on top of one another, your knees stacked together, and they're glued towards the ground. Your right hand is going to trace towards the right, and then retrace that half moon back to the start position. And then again, retrace that half moon, try to keep those hands on the ground at all times, and then back to the start position. And last time, retrace that half moon and back to the start position. Perfect. We made it through our 10-minute workday mobility sessions. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you join me next week, same time, 12:15.